Archangel Michael says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because the moment you are experiencing right now is not random and it is not something that happened by accident. Long before you arrived here, long before you pressed play or allowed your attention to pause on this message, something within your spirit was already moving you toward this moment of awareness. 3 weeks ago, the path that would lead you here had already begun forming quietly. At that time you may have been going through ordinary days, following routines, handling responsibilities, thinking about your future in small ways. Yet beneath those normal moments something deeper was unfolding. Your heart was preparing to understand something that until now may have felt hidden. Archangel Michael says when a message is written for someone's heart, it does not arrive with noise or pressure. It arrives gently, when the mind is ready to hear what the heart has been sensing all along. You may have felt small changes recently. Thoughts appearing in quiet moments, questions about your direction, reflections about what truly matters in your life. Sometimes these moments felt like simple curiosity, yet they were part of a deeper awakening. Your awareness has been growing slowly, and that growth is the reason you are ready for this message now. You might wonder why something written weeks ago is reaching you today. The reason is simple: understanding requires timing. If you had heard these words earlier, they might have passed by unnoticed. But now your perspective has matured. Experiences over the past weeks have shaped your thinking, strengthened your patience, and opened your mind to reflection. What once felt ordinary now carries meaning. What once seemed confusing now begins to make sense. Timing transforms information into insight. Archangel Michael says the words you are about to hear are not meant to overwhelm you, even though they may touch something deep inside. Sometimes truth feels emotional because it reveals how much strength you already carry. When a message breaks you open, it does not mean harm, it means your heart recognizes something real. It means you are allowing honesty to replace doubt. It means you are ready to acknowledge the growth that has been happening quietly within you. There have been moments in your life when you wondered if anyone noticed the effort you were making. You kept moving forward through uncertainty, doing your best even when recognition was absent. But your perseverance was never invisible. Each choice to remain patient, each decision to continue learning, each time you chose understanding instead of frustration, you were building something valuable within yourself. That inner strength is the reason this moment matters now. Archangel Michael says the idea that this message will disappear quickly is not about urgency or fear. It is simply a reminder that meaningful moments must be appreciated when they arrive. Awareness appears briefly in life. Those moments when everything suddenly becomes clearer. When you recognize those moments and pause to listen, they can guide you toward a deeper understanding of yourself and your path. So allow yourself to stay present with this message for a moment. Breathe calmly and listen with an open mind. What you are hearing now is not a command or a warning. It is an invitation to recognize the progress you have already made and the direction your life is slowly taking. When you see your journey with patience and clarity, you realize that every experience, every lesson, and every quiet reflection has been guiding you toward becoming a stronger and wiser version of yourself. Archangel Michael says this message reached you because your heart was ready. And when your heart is ready, Even a few words can carry meaning that stays with you long after the moment passes. Archangel Michael says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because the moment you are experiencing right now is not something that appeared suddenly without meaning. Long before today, your heart had already begun sensing that something inside you was changing. Sometimes these changes are very quiet, almost invisible, yet they are powerful because they begin within your thoughts and emotions. 3 weeks ago, something important began shifting in your awareness. You may not have noticed it clearly at that time, but deep within your spirit a process had already started. You began thinking differently about certain situations, reflecting more deeply about your life, and questioning what truly brings peace and meaning to your journey. During those days you may have continued living your normal routine, speaking with people around you, completing your responsibilities, and moving through ordinary moments just like always. Yet even within those ordinary days there were quiet signs of growth. Maybe you felt moments where you suddenly paused to think about your direction. Maybe you realized that certain worries no longer felt as heavy as they once did. Maybe you noticed that your patience was becoming stronger than before. These small changes may have seemed unimportant at the time, but they were actually preparing your heart to understand something deeper. Archangel Michael says growth often begins long before we recognize it. Many people expect transformation to happen instantly, but true inner change develops slowly and gently. Every experience you pass through adds another layer of understanding to your life. When challenges appear, they teach resilience. When peaceful moments arrive, they teach gratitude. When confusion appears, it encourages reflection. All of these experiences together help shape the person you are becoming. Over the past few weeks, your mind has been processing lessons that once felt difficult to understand. Situations that may have caused frustration before are now beginning to reveal their purpose. You are starting to see that every challenge you faced carried a hidden lesson about patience, self-respect, and emotional strength. These lessons were not punishments, they were opportunities for growth. And because you continued moving forward instead of giving up, those lessons have now become wisdom. Archangel Michael says there is a reason your heart feels drawn to messages like this. When a person begins to grow spiritually and emotionally, they naturally become more aware of their thoughts, their choices, and the direction of their life. Awareness is powerful because it allows you to respond to situations with clarity, instead of reacting with confusion. When your awareness increases, you begin to understand yourself more honestly. You begin to recognize what truly matters and what no longer deserves your energy. Perhaps you have already noticed that some things that once seemed very important to you now feel less meaningful. Certain worries, certain distractions, or even certain opinions from others may no longer affect you the way they once did. This change is not weakness, it is maturity. It means you are learning to protect your peace and focus on what truly supports your growth. When your focus becomes clearer, your life begins to move in a more balanced direction. Archangel Michael says the message written for your heart was never meant to pressure you or rush you. Instead, it was meant to remind you that your journey has meaning even when progress feels slow. You have already shown great strength by continuing to learn from your experiences. You have shown courage by reflecting honestly about your life instead of ignoring your feelings. And you have shown patience by allowing yourself to grow step by step. As you continue moving forward, remember that your growth does not need to be perfect to be valuable. Progress happens through small improvements repeated over time. Each time you choose understanding instead of frustration, you strengthen your inner peace. Each time you reflect instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen your wisdom. These choices may appear small in the moment, but they slowly shape the future you are creating. Archangel Michael says your heart has been preparing to hear this message because you are learning to trust your own growth. Even when the path ahead is not completely clear, your willingness to keep learning shows that you are ready for the next stage of your journey. The awareness developing inside you is guiding you toward a life where your choices come from calm reflection instead of uncertainty. So continue listening with patience and openness. The message reaching your heart today is not about changing who you are. It is about helping you recognize how much you have already grown and encouraging you to keep walking forward with confidence, clarity, and peace. Archangel Michael says, "Listen carefully again, my beloved soul, because the understanding that is unfolding within you is part of a much deeper journey than you may realize." Over the past week, something inside your awareness has been quietly expanding. Many times in life we think change happens only through big dramatic events, but the truth is that the most powerful transformations happen quietly inside the heart. They appear as small realizations, gentle shifts in thinking, and moments where you suddenly understand something that once felt confusing. These quiet realizations are signs that your inner awareness is growing stronger. There have been moments recently when you felt the desire to slow down and reflect. Maybe you paused during a normal day and asked yourself deeper questions about your purpose, your direction, or the type of person you want to become. These questions are not signs of doubt, they are signs of awakening. When a person begins to reflect deeply about life, it means their heart is becoming more conscious of what truly matters. Instead of simply moving through life automatically, you are beginning to live with awareness. Archangel Michael says awareness is one of the greatest gifts a person can develop. When you are aware of your thoughts and emotions, you gain the ability to guide your life with wisdom instead of confusion. Many people spend years reacting to situations without understanding their own inner voice. But you are learning something different. You are learning to listen to your thoughts, observe your emotions, and respond with patience instead of rushing into reactions. This ability creates peace within your life. Sometimes growth can feel emotional because it reveals truths you may not have recognized before. You might realize that certain situations taught you more than you expected. You might notice that some challenges actually strengthened your patience and resilience. You might even see that moments of uncertainty helped you develop greater understanding about yourself. When you look back with clarity, you begin to see that every experience played a role in shaping the person you are today. Archangel Michael says the message written for your heart weeks ago was meant to reach you at the moment when your understanding was ready to receive it. Timing is important in every journey. If a message arrives too early, the mind may ignore it because the heart is not ready yet. But when the right moment arrives, the same message suddenly carries meaning that feels powerful and clear. That is why today feels different. Your awareness has matured enough to understand the deeper message behind these words. Think about the person you were several weeks ago. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your perspective have already begun to shift. Perhaps you have become more patient in situations that once felt frustrating. Perhaps you have learned to step back from negativity instead of allowing it to control your emotions. Perhaps you have begun focusing more on personal growth instead of worrying about things you cannot control. These changes show that your inner strength is developing. Archangel Michael says strength does not always appear in dramatic ways. Real strength often appears as calmness, clarity, and the ability to remain balanced even when life becomes challenging. When your mind becomes calm, your decisions become wiser. When your heart becomes patient, your relationships become healthier. When your awareness becomes stronger, your life begins to move in a direction that reflects your true values. You may not always recognize how much progress you have made because growth happens gradually. Just like a tree grows silently day by day, your inner wisdom has been developing through every experience you have faced. Each conversation, each lesson, each challenge, and each moment of reflection has contributed to your understanding. Even the difficult moments served a purpose because they encouraged you to learn and evolve. Archangel Michael says the reason your heart feels connected to this message is because it reflects the journey you are already walking. You are learning to trust your growth instead of doubting it. You are learning to appreciate the lessons hidden within everyday experiences. And you are learning to move forward with greater awareness about the choices you make. As you continue listening, remember that the purpose of this message is not to pressure you or overwhelm you. Its purpose is to remind you that the changes happening inside your heart are meaningful. You are developing patience, wisdom, and emotional strength step by step. Each day you continue growing, even when progress feels slow. Archangel Michael says your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. The awareness growing within you is guiding you toward a life where your decisions come from clarity, your actions come from understanding, and your heart moves forward with calm confidence. Archangel Michael says, listen one more time with a calm and open heart, because the understanding you are receiving now is meant to stay with you long after this moment passes. By the time a person reaches this stage of reflection, it means their inner awareness has already grown stronger than before. Many people move through life without ever pausing to look within themselves, but you have reached a point where you are beginning to recognize your own thoughts, emotions, and purpose more clearly. This awareness is not something that appears suddenly, it develops slowly through every experience you have lived, every lesson you have learned, and every moment you chose patience instead of giving up. During the past weeks you have quietly become more thoughtful about your life. Situations that once felt confusing now begin to reveal deeper meaning. You may notice that you are reacting differently to certain challenges. Instead of feeling overwhelmed immediately, you might pause and think more carefully. This change shows that your emotional strength is growing. Growth does not remove challenges from life, but it changes the way you face them. When your mind becomes calmer and your heart becomes stronger, the same situations that once seemed heavy begin to feel manageable. Archangel Michael says the message written for your heart was always meant to guide you toward recognizing the strength that already exists within you. Many people spend years searching outside themselves for answers, believing that their direction will appear through something external. But often the most important answers appear when a person looks inward and reflects honestly about their journey. Inside your own experiences there is already wisdom waiting to be recognized. Every challenge you overcame, every lesson you learned, and every moment you chose patience instead of frustration has built a stronger foundation within you. You may not always give yourself credit for the progress you have made. Sometimes people focus so much on what they still want to achieve that they forget how far they have already come. Think back to moments when you felt uncertain or discouraged in the past. Even during those times you continued moving forward step by step. That perseverance shows a strength that many people underestimate. The fact that you are still learning, still reflecting, and still seeking understanding means your journey is moving in the right direction. Archangel Michael says one of the most powerful qualities a person can develop is the ability to remain patient with their own growth. Life does not reveal everything at once. Instead, it teaches us gradually, allowing our understanding to develop over time. When you accept that growth is a process rather than a single moment, you begin to appreciate each stage of the journey. Every lesson becomes valuable because it helps shape your perspective. There will always be moments when life feels uncertain, but uncertainty is often the space where new understanding begins to appear. When you allow yourself to reflect calmly instead of reacting quickly, your mind becomes clearer. From that clarity you can make wiser decisions and move forward with confidence. This is why awareness is so important. Awareness allows you to see situations from a broader perspective instead of becoming trapped in temporary emotions. Archangel Michael says your heart has already begun developing this awareness. You are learning to observe your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. You are learning to recognize which situations deserve your energy and which ones should be released. This ability protects your peace and helps you maintain balance even when life becomes busy or challenging. As your awareness grows, you may also begin to appreciate the small positive moments that once passed unnoticed. Simple experiences such as peaceful conversations, quiet reflection, or moments of gratitude become more meaningful. These moments remind you that life is not only about big achievements, it is also about the calm understanding that develops through everyday experiences. Archangel Michael says the message reaching your heart today is simply reminding you that your journey has purpose. Every step you have taken has contributed to the person you are becoming. Your patience, your willingness to learn, and your ability to reflect honestly about your life are qualities that will continue guiding you forward. So continue moving through your life with the same thoughtful awareness you are developing now. Trust the lessons you have learned and the wisdom you are building within yourself. Growth may happen quietly, but its impact is powerful. And the understanding you carry within your heart will continue guiding your path with clarity, patience, and calm confidence. If this message touched your heart, take a quiet moment and type, "I receive this message," in the comments. When you declare it, you remind yourself to stay open to growth and clarity.